this video. I am Aaron, you are watching All Things Aaron, and today we are cleaning up my plants in my living room. Now, if you watched some of my previous videos, you know I have ulcerative colitis, UC. Whenever I have a flare, which is a process within having UC, I usually get into this, I don't want to say depression, but a very low state. I lose energy, I'm very fatigued, I really don't feel like doing anything or sometimes talking to people. Additionally, I start to forget about things that are in my direct environment. So a lot of that tends to my plants, as you can see beside me. We're going to take a closer look at some of these items. Some of these plants now are gone. Yeah, they're just no longer with us. And for that, we're going to just be trashing them. There's no use of trying to propagate or bring them back to life. There's nothing left to them, and I'll show you some of those as we go through. For some others, they just need a touch up. They may need some water, they may need to be repotted. I am solely focusing on the plants here in my living room, as a lot of the plants in my bedroom are actually good. Those are the ones I tend to the most. I see them every day before I go to bed. I see them when I wake up, and therefore they get more attention than the ones that are in my living room. So we're solely focusing on the living room here today to clean up what's no longer with us. Now I've got a trusty trash bag here. This will be somewhat of a best friend for the next hour maybe. Let's dive into what plants are going to make it and what plants are going right into this bag. Now we are going to get started in this corner. I have this bench here that has some monsteras and some ZZ plants. So we're going to start here. We're just taking a look at what we have and some cleanup. Now, I don't have multiple cameras. I'm using my phone and my DJI Pocket, so we're gonna try and get some up close, but some will just know they're not the best condition. Now we've got this monstera here. It has, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 with our newest 8th leaf just unfurling this week. Super excited about that. It's not as big as the last. I, of course, neglected it a little bit, I will be honest. Plus, I believe it needs a repot. There's some roots coming out the bottom, and it's going to take over soon. This is a Thai constellation. I got it at a nursery here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Love, 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 love this plant, but I know I need to take care of it better. So we're just going to go ahead and take off these dead roots. Got my trusty trash bag. That's all I need to do here. I'm not repotting today, as I just don't have the time to, but time will tell, and I will need to repot this bag. Next, we're going to take a look at a ZZ, and really some great options. This is the newest set of leaves, but we're just going to try and get out all of the dead. Here's another ZZ plant. This one just has some dead leaves, not as much as the previous. Now this plant will need a repot soon. The soil is very dry, and it's probably not retaining any moisture in here. Additionally, it's very chunky for this soil, like it's in just older product. This is straight from like a Lowe's, which I believe is where I got it from, and then I haven't done anything with it since. It is in a self-watering pot, which is really nice, but I haven't kept up with it, so this will be one to repot. I could put right back in this potter and into this cachet pot, and then let it go, hopefully successfully, but it does need to be repotted soon. Now this is just my first monstera, classic green. Nothing special here. As you can see, it has it's a few fights. But then I started getting this new growth here on the side, so I decided to keep it. The cuttings actually were in this bad boy. Now when I talk about neglect, if you can see, there's no water in here. None whatsoever. Because I keep forgetting to put water in here. And it just has turned into this. Now I've got one leaf here. Once I give it some water, hopefully it will perk back up. But I do need to probably take it out of here and see what roots are good, what roots are bad, and then find some soil for it. But for now, we're just going to clean it up, add some water, and keep it moving. Now on the floor is my first ZZ that I ever purchased. I've got this very long branch stem here. A lot of it has started to die off, so we'll take those off. One random one here, which probably won't last long. There's some spotting, starting to turn gray in the stem. But this is the reason why I love ZZ plants. As you can see here, we've got a little green nub coming out of this sheath, which means that I'm gonna have a whole new growth there. I also think I'm gonna have another growth back here. So we're just going to get some water to this. It does need to be repotted. As you can see, all of the bulbs are sticking out of the dirt. I don't think that's supposed to be the case. I need to do some research on this to find out, but I would assume that these need to be submerged. Additionally, I can see wrinkles, like it's the brains of this plant, and these wrinkles tell me that this plant's just dehydrated. So a little water, hopefully a little love down the line with some fresh soil, and I might have some new shoots come out. Now this next one's truly an embarrassment, but I have to show you. This was the largest plant I owned a while ago, and I actually have a video on my Instagram, my plant Instagram, life_with_foliage. I'll note it below. So this was my epipremnum, and it was beautiful. And this is now what it looks like. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. This is just going in the trash. So that is everything that's on the floor. We're going to start looking at what's on this shelf over here. At the top, I have this palm. I think it's in great condition other than being a little dry. I don't know if this plant will ever die. Please, if you know that this plant can die other than root rot, please note it below in the comments. Tell me how yours is doing. I don't know the type of palm this is. Let's see. Ponytail palm. That's all I put up here. So let's see. Do I have a date of when I got this? I do not. But let me know if your ponytail palm is still alive. And if it is, congratulations. Again, I don't think these die. So I'm going to get some water into this bad boy, stick it back at the top, and let it continue. Belinda Banks, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. This was the Scindaptus pictus. This had beautiful large leaves. I think it was an exotica. It had to have been an exotica. It had this honeycomb trellis on it, and the plant was snaked around it. And yeah, this video is just going to be full of embarrassments. But I'm accepting that. I know my flaws. I know that I could have done better. When I was sick, though, I just totally left the plants aside and focused on my health and not the health of my plants. But now that I'm starting to get better, it's time to give some attention to the plants. The next shelf is a trio of dead plants. I don't even know what species. Probably philodendron, epipremnum. Gone. On to shelf 3. More dead. For sure these were Scindapsus, however you say it. This was a Gloriosum. Not so glorious now. I have I believe it's a Wyetii. This has actually bloomed for me a few times, but now I need to give it some more love. And I think once I give it some more love, it'll perk back up, give me some more blooms. I'll probably chop this down here, get rid of it so it can push out some new growth at the top. That's a keeper. What's not a keeper is this bad boy. I don't even know what it is. It's been in this pot forever. Though it was full of leaves and plump and lush, the drought has gotten to it. And yeah, that's what you end up with. So the last things on this side of the shelf are these Haworthias. I have a larger mother plant, and these are just pups from the mother plant. So I've propagated them into these smaller cups. They just need some water, clean up the dead leaves, and honestly, these are good to go. These are good old faithfuls, and when I show you the mother, you'll see why. Moving on to our next shelf here. Now this shelf is going to be probably a little less than what we saw on the first one. I've already started dwindling down on this one a long time ago. But from the top, this was a Mandula. And as you can see, there's no more of anything. There's a little bit of green on the stem, but it's not enough for me to keep there. It's already drying at the top and at the bottom from the roots, which makes me think that this small section only has a very small lifespan. The rest of it is just no good. I don't know if I can keep the moss. The roots are stuck in there, but I also don't know if I want to try to keep the moss. It may be in my best interest just to chunk it all. Then I have a ficus. This ficus is almost out of the pot anyways. We've got green, so I could keep this. What I don't know is if I can notch it. I've never tried notching a ficus. I also have some globes, and I don't know if I put a globe on this, put some notches in and put a globe on it, if it'll grow anything. I want to trash it, because honestly, you're going to see in a few seconds my other ficus options. I might as well start this collection over. But this could be a fun experiment to see if I could regrow it with either the globes or just by repotting, giving it some fresh nutrients, giving it some good light, and seeing if it takes off from there. So this we're going to put in the maybe pile. We've got a Hoya, and honestly, I could just probably take away some of the old stems that aren't doing anything. There's actually some new growth. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. There's some new growth there in the center of my palm. I don't know if it's going to make it or not, but it's worth giving it a shot. I think just repotting this in some fresh soil, I could get this going. To the mother plant of the Haworthia, we've got a very long midsection where the pups were coming from. That's probably a good 3 or 4 inches. And as you can see, there's pups that are around it. I easily could just break these off, repot those individually, but they've overgrown so much that they're really, really long. They're all about 3 inches long. So that's going to be tough to repot. I also could just cut this down and just start regrowth from a smaller piece just to make it look a lot cleaner, because there are a lot of dead pieces underneath. For now, though, she's a keeper. We just got to figure out what we're going to do with her. Now, if you know, Hoyas are my absolute favorite plants, and a part of the Hoya family, I like to say, are Dischidias. This is a million hearts, and this is flowered and bloomed so many times. It's just full of little blooms. It is a mess. If you ever get one of these, if you don't probably take care of it and clean it regularly, it can be very messy in the sense that all of those little blooms like to fall off. Plus, these petals, as they start to dry out, will just become very fragile and flake off. So up on this shelf is a complete mess. This is one of 3 Dischidias that I have. This Million Hearts used to be a darker green, but it sits here on this shelf back here. It gets a lot of direct light, and since it has bleached out, I believe, I don't know if it's nutrients or if it's the true bleach, but I absolutely love this plant. I love the way it trails. This is what I want in a trailing plant. So I do want this to be fuller. I think it's time for a repot. Also want to possibly pluck some pieces off and start propagating. Mainly because I'm at risk of losing this pretty soon just due to it the color changing, and I want to see if I can get some darker green out of a new option. We'll stick with the Dischidias. This is Million Hearts, but this is the variegated. Ride or die. This plant, I will never, ever forget about this plant. Though it looks like I have. There's some browning. Where'd you go? There's some browning. This was an all white strip, and as you can see, it just crumbles in my hand. Yes, I'm just throwing it on the floor. I'm going to clean up later. But this is one of my favorites. I love the shape. I love the way it drapes over the pot. You've got some that are sticking out. It gives you lots of texture, lots of depth. But it needs to be cleaned. It needs to be hydrated. It looks like there was maybe a mealybug at one point. So I want to give this a good soak. I want to repot and change the soil. This will be a project along with the other Million Hearts. Lastly, for my Dischidias is this watermelon Dischidia. Now this does have pest on it. I also have a lot of just dead leaves that are falling off. But I think a good wash, a repot in some fresh soil, and I could get this back to good health. I don't see a problem with it. It's got plenty of growth on it. Some that are still really good, even though it's been through some neglect. So I like the idea that it's going to make it. Another Haworthia, totally good. We're just going to pluck off the dry at the bottom. I probably could repot this, but I'm not. I just got so many others that I will probably need to repot. There's still some new growth in the center. So if I can just get this hydrated well, it'll be perfectly fine. This used to be a Dischidia. Now it's just Shidia. That was a really bad joke. Don't laugh at that one. Green Cascade, but it's now going to cascade into the trash. I'm not trying to bring this back to life. There's no use. Speaking of hearts, we've got one big heart Hoya. I don't think these things ever die. Just need some water. And lastly, over here is my cup of string of everything. There's string of pearls. There's string. There's the raindrop, the teardrop option. There's some variegated in here, even though I think it's lost its variegation. Anytime I got some, I just threw them in here, and it just grows. I'm not going to do anything to this but add some water and let it just keep on kicking. Now lastly, we are going to talk about all the plants on this case here. Now these plants are majority all snake plants in my ficus collection. So these are ones that I really want to keep, but I'm also willing to get rid of. These are plants that are easy to find. I don't think any of these are rare options except maybe for my Welfin. There's not as many and they're more expensive than some of my other options. So I really wish I could remember the name of this anthurium. It doesn't look the best right now. I'm just proud that I was able to get this much growth out of this plant. I got this plant with others from Equigenera, and this was not my most recent trip. This was last year, maybe. So I'm very proud that this has lasted because I think the rest of them are all gone. Moment of silence. But I do need to find a new home for this plant. I need to repot it. All of the roots are just outside of the pot here at the top. And I would like to put those lower down, especially as these bottom leaves start to die off. And then maybe find a way to perk it up so all of the leaves stand up a little more. Because right now it's everywhere. And it's really hard to find a home for this when the leaves are all going in every direction. I'm gonna get this bad boy out of the way here since it's at the front. This is my silver dollar. Do not ask me to say the name of this plant, Z or X something. I do need to clean off. There's a dead stem up here, and just a good wash and some new soil. I do have a stake in this that was supposed to help it stand up, but I think when the water was getting moist with the leaning, what am I thinking of? With the draping that's taking place, that it pulled the plant forward. So the roots are literally hanging by a thread in there with very little soil. So I need to repot this, get it standing up straight again, and then hopefully I'll get some great new growth out of this. We're going straight to the trash. Now, pretty much all of my snake plants are in the same condition. They've got great growth, as you can see, but everything looks very wrinkled and old and wilty. And each one has at least one brown that we need to get rid of. So we're going to take those off. We're going to actually unpot these eventually. I repotted these maybe 4 years ago. So it's time to repot these. And I also want to do it just so I can get some fresh nutrients in there. I've got some pups that I can see that have started on both of these. So I want to break off the pups and get those going in their own pot to maybe look better than what these look like now. Moving down, we have another Sansevieria, another snake plant. This is one that we've had since 2020. As you can see, it's grown. This is the original, this is what grew, or no, this is the original and this is what grew. This older one has a lot that's dying off and the leaves are starting to yellow. It almost looks like two different plants in one pot, but I promise you they are the same plant. We're just gonna clean this up, get it some fresh water. It's probably due for soil, as originally this is the soil has been compacted down. I don't know if you can see that. Lots of roots there, but I want to get it in some fresh medium. These two here, same as the first two that I showed you in this family, just to clean up and a repot and get some fresh soil going, find some nutrients and some hydration to the leaves, hopefully plump them back up. I'm not sure if you can actually rehydrate these. This looks really bad dehydrated. I don't know if you can see with the light. This is my moonshine Sansevieria, and I thought I had two of them, but maybe it is just one. This is my moonshine Sansevieria, and though I love this plant, I just can't get past the wrinkly texture. It reminds me of just an old man or an old woman, just who's at their age, and there's no going back, but I'm going to try. The last two Sansevieria are my whale fin. So I've got this one here that has two leaves, and I've got this one here that also has two leaves. I love the variegation on this. This one's new. I recently did a video where I went window shopping and ended up coming home with a couple of plants. This is one of those plants. This one does need a repot. I just need to clean it up, get it a repot, hopefully get some more hydration in this, plump her back up, because she is starting to look a little wrinkled. And lastly, here in the living room, we've got the rest of my ficus collection. I used to have a ficus Audrey in this bad boy. There's still some green up there, so there's signs of life, just nothing going on. And these two, the Taneke, are both just dwindling away. Again, I don't know that I can rehydrate these to their full potential. I can try. I do think that they are salvageable. I just need to get the right watering back into session, not overdo it to drown them, but just enough to get them hydrated, and then I can get them back on a good routine. I also want to try and put the globes on these and see if I can propagate them. No use of buying new ones just yet, but again, as I stated earlier, these are not crazy overboard priced, so I could just get new ones if I decided to. All right, as you can see, pretty much all the plants have been cleared out, and we have quite a bit of watering to do. Here in the future, we're going to have some repots to do from this cleaning, as well as we are going to rearrange everything. I don't know if I'm going to put the same plants in the same spot or if I'm going to rearrange it. Now that I have less plants to work with in this environment, I may only keep it to the top shelves there, the top shelves here, and use this this credenza that has the window lighting. But we'll see. And by we'll see, I mean, you'll have to wait until I decide to film again on this project. If you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you are a subscriber. If not, please consider subscribing to this channel. I make videos talking about plants, as you can see, a UC as well as just my life, and all of it is probably quite interesting. So stick around, be a subscriber, join the family, and I'll look to see you in the next video.